Avoidants often struggle with self-reflection, not because they're incapable of it, but because it feels threatening. Underneath avoidant patterns, there is often a core wound of shame, a quiet belief that says, if you really see me, you'll realize something is wrong with me. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I'm defective. Self-reflection requires looking inward. And for someone carrying unprocessed shame, looking inward can activate that fear. So instead of insight, the nervous system feels danger. When conversations move toward accountability or emotional depth, it can trigger shame. And shame is one of the most overwhelming emotions for the human nervous system. Shame doesn't feel like, I made a mistake. It feels like, I am the mistake. So the system protects. It minimizes. It intellectualizes. It blames circumstances. It withdraws. It shuts down. Not because the person is evil, not because they don't care, but because facing vulnerability without internal safety feels unbearable. Denial is protective. Withdrawal is protective. Avoidance is protective. But protection is not the same as healing. Healing requires tolerating discomfort. It requires the ability to say, I may have contributed to this. It requires separating behavior from identity, understanding that making mistakes does not mean being defective. For someone with strong avoidant defenses, that separation hasn't been fully developed, so self-reflection can feel like annihilation. And when shame gets activated, the fastest way to regulate is distance. Distance from the conversation, distance from the partner, distance from the feelings. The tragedy is that the very thing that could bring growth, reflection, feels like a threat to survival. But here is the important part. Avoidant patterns are not permanent traits. They are nervous system strategies formed in environments where vulnerability did not feel safe. With enough safety, accountability, and willingness, self-reflection becomes possible. But that willingness has to come from within. You cannot force someone to reflect. You cannot love someone into accountability. You cannot outpatience their defenses. If someone consistently chooses denial and withdrawal over growth, that is information. And your healing cannot depend on someone else's readiness. Compassion for their wound does not require sacrificing your own well-being. Understanding the pattern does not mean tolerating it. And real growth only happens when someone decides that protecting their ego is no longer more important than protecting their relationships.